Hello everybody, welcome back once again. We are playing Final Fantasy Tactics, War of the Lions. Just starting out here in the walled city of Yardro. Before I do anything else, I'm going to read through the Germanic scriptures. I really should have done this a while ago, specifically right after Orban Monastery, because I think it would have been... I think it just would have made more sense, right? Because that's when they actually, you obtain them, and their importance is maybe obvious once you've read through them, and which then I feel like makes the meeting with Merrick, the initial meeting, make a little bit more sense, right? Because then you really feel like, yeah, you're holding on to something that's actually really important, and other people want. So, anyways, let's read through them here. So it says it's a historical account of Saint Ajora's life recorded by his disciple Germanic. Its very existence has long been denied. I opened the scriptures of Germanic entrusted to me by Elder Simon and began to leaf through the pages. The words before my eyes were writ in a holy script of the ancients. Several illustrations were scattered throughout, but many pages were missing or damaged, and the script was exceedingly difficult to decipher. I was deeply curious as to what knowledge lay within. As I was turning the pages, faintly penned letters in modern Evelician script occasionally caught my eye. Notes of an explanatory nature had been added here and there throughout the book. I wondered who might have written them. Judging by the faded ink, some entries were more than a decade old, while others seemed to have been penned only in the last few days. As I touched my finger to one of them, the writing smeared. The ink had yet to fully dry. Every note was written in the same hand, Elder Simon's, I suddenly realized. He must have devoted a significant portion of his life to deciphering these scriptures, line by painstaking line. I relied heavily on his fragmentary notes as I continued reading. Apparently, the Holy Script had been recorded by Germanic, a disciple of Saint Ajora. Germanic, that name struck a familiar chord. Half-forgotten history lessons rose unbidden in my mind. And then I remembered. Germanic was the disciple who had betrayed his master, turning him over to the Holy Dorian Empire. I was astounded that a librum penned by the same Germanic from my history lessons now rested in my very hands. I could hardly contain myself as I turned the pages. And then I was assaulted by a shock far greater than the realization that I held a priceless historical artifact. Originally, I had thought the book to be no more than a collection of Saint Ajora's teachings, as recorded by Germanic. How unprepared I was to learn what it truly contained. This tome served as an account of Saint Ajora's life. The Saint Ajora described within was a considerably different nature than the man about whom we have all been taught. I had always known that Saint Ajora was no ordinary mortal. My faith in the Church of Glabados was not as profoundly complete as that of my Lord Brother Zalbag, yet I did believe that Saint Ajora was a child of the gods, descended from the heavens to deliver humanity from its self-inflicted chaos. Or should I say, I had believed. All I had thought immutable was shattered upon reading the scriptures. Saint Ajora's birth came in the midst of a golden age of technology when airships yet plied the skies. He was born in Lassalia in the city of Bervenia. Moments after his birth, he rose to his feet and approached a well. Upon reaching its base, words of prophecy poured forth from his infant lips. A calamity shall soon befall this well. Seal it up at once, that none may drink of it. Some days later, the Black Death visited the town of Bervenia, and all those who drank the well's tainted water succumbed to the plague and perished. Only those families who heeded the prophetic words of Saint Ajora were spared from death and malady. After the incident with the well, the people came to revere Saint Ajora as a portent of miracle and a child of the gods. But it was not until he reached the age of 20 that Saint Ajora would become the savior of Ivalice and take his place among the gods in paradise. Ivalice was not always united as it is today. Long ago, the realm was divided into 7 kingdoms: Favaham, Lionel, Limberry, Lassalia, Galleon, Zeltennia, and Mulland. each warred with the others in a never-ending struggle to expand its own territory. This conflict had continued for centuries until an ambitious young king rose to power in Mulland. This young monarch dreamt of uniting all of Ivalice under his hand, but the road to victory was a difficult and dangerous one. The king turned to ancient tomes and the dark magics found within, summoning a demon from the netherworld to do his bidding. But once unleashed, the demon slew the king and set out to destroy the very world itself. To combat this monstrosity, a great hero set out on a quest. Together with his 12 disciples, he collected the zodiac stones that had been scattered throughout the world, and the zodiac braves were born again. The zodiac braves soon defeated the creature's minions and banished the demon back to its infernal plane, for this becoming known as the saviors of our world. The story is now a well-known legend. The zodiac braves had since appeared whenever the world balanced on the brink of catastrophe, only to vanish just as quickly once the crisis has been averted. Similar catastrophes threatened the world in the time of Saint Ajora. The king of Limberry summoned a demon in hopes of seizing control of all of Ivalice, and once again plunged the world into chaos. And just as in the legend, Saint Ajora collected the 12 zodiac stones, and once again the zodiac braves rose to defeat the marauding demon. However, the sovereigns of any age have small tolerance for the interference of well-meaning heroes. Fearing the charismatic saint's growing influence, the Holy Edoran Empire dispatched soldiers to capture him and his devoted followers. Pharism was the prevalent religion in that day, and its priests feared Ajora's growing influence. Ultimately, Germanic, the 13th disciple, was tempted by a sordid coin, offering vital information that led to his master's capture. The saint was executed upon the gallows of Golgotha soon thereafter. But lest we forget, Saint Ajora was a child of the gods. The wrath of the heavens was swift and terrible. Immediately following the execution, Mulland, the center of Ferris' teachings, was visited by a terrible cataclysm and sank into the sea. Saint Ajora then ascended to paradise to take his rightful place among the gods. This was the legend with which I was familiar, the very same tale told to every child of Ivalice. But the Saint Ajora described within the scriptures of Germanic was a different man altogether. Ajora was no child of the gods. He was a mere mortal, no more divine than you or I. He was a revolutionary who fought to realize his own ambitions. He was no lover of peace, no hero who would sacrifice himself for the good of humanity. Germanic wrote of him, as the founder of a new religion with a rising number of followers, Ajora was seen as no more than a nuisance to the empire. But Ajora was apparently more than just a religious founder. He was a saboteur who infiltrated enemy states to collect information and sow disorder. Ajora was a spy, dispatched to the Holy Edoran Empire by a rival state. Whatever he claimed to be, it was fact that the empire began to fear this upstart's growing influence. Germanic was employed to collect evidence that would allow the empire to arrest Ajora as a spy. The 13th disciple was in reality no more than the empire's instrument in a play to uncover Ajora's true intentions. It seemed that Ajora indeed attempted to reassemble the Zodiac Braves. Germanic confirmed this in his writings that Ajora even discovered some of the stones, but what was his purpose in seeking them? I do not know if the young king of Limberry actually summoned a demon. At the very least, I have failed to encounter even a single line within the scriptures that records the event. Yet catastrophe did befall Mulland at the time of Ajora's death. According to the scriptures, the bulk of the city sank into the sea. The footnotes provided further enlightenment. They expressed a different view, no doubt the personal opinion of Elder Simon. Although many spoke of their existence, none had ever set eyes upon these scriptures of Germanic. Some might say they are fraudulent, written with the sole purpose of discrediting Saint Ajora, but I know this tome to be authentic. When I served as an inquisitor for the church, many others in the Holy Office feared the existence of this work, and the same is no doubt true for the High Confessor. They were all fearful of these writings, for everything contained within them is fact. After Saint Ajora's death, the church, which had capitalized on his considerable influence to seize power for itself, had only one task: to conceal his true nature as a human being. This one fact had to be erased from the annals of history. They needed to ensure that Saint Ajora be remembered as a child of the gods. Their use of the Zodiac Braves, a legend believed throughout Ivalice, was a stroke of genius. It was a simple feat to convince the people that Saint Ajora had led the Zodiac Braves to defeat a demon that never existed. I realize now that I had lost my faith the moment I began to read these scriptures, and yet I feel no sorrow. Thinking back, I now know that my desire to know the truth was far stronger than my faith had ever been. But I have committed one great sin. I failed to condemn the church for lying to our flock all these years. And why? I knew that if I were able to share this book with the world, my precious library would be taken from me. And to me there could be no pain greater, for this library is the only means of slaking my endless thirst for knowledge. My curiosity eclipsed my will to do what was right. Elder Simon wrote that Saint Ajora's demon never existed, but I have seen the dark power of the Zodiac Stones with my own eyes. There is an evil presence at work, something much more sinister than even the High Confessor and his twisted plots. All right, that is the scriptures. Not bad, about 10 minutes that took. Yeah, so it is kind of interesting because Ramza kind of is treading treading new ground. Because even Elder Simon wasn't aware of the Lucavi demons that are being summoned by the stone. So yeah, kind of learning some things by himself. But I think there's obvious parallels to Christianity there with the story of Saint Ajora and Germanic specifically being probably Judas. Not that I think that that's particularly interesting, but yeah, the story is good, and I always feel like it's a good explainer of the church and their I should say the church in this game, right? And they need this story, right, to kind of control people, and if the people find out that it's all kind of BS, then they lose their power essentially. So anyways, and that's why the scriptures are so important, right, and why they're so valuable. But anyways, all right, let's head into the Yuguewood. Yeah, Yuguewood. Oh, I guess we've got a scene here first. Zeltennia Castle Chapel Ruins. This is probably Delita. O Father, grant unto us, your children of Ivalice, salvation. Allow not this war to consume our realm, but set us swiftly on the proper course that we might know true peace. I thought I might find you here again. This night carries with it a chill wind. You'd best return to your chambers before the sun... Whoa. Delita. All right, it only grazed me. Run quickly. Pawns of Larg, are you not, sent by Lord Dystarg? They must be grown rife with fear to employ such open measures. Our quarry is well guarded. Strike down her shield as well. As you will. I bear you not save pity, but my hand is forced. I will take your lives. Alright. Objective is to protect Ovelia again. Let's see if she's equipped with the same stuff as last time. Delita's got the shell status on. Flambard Gandula, okay. Ooh, she's got counter tackle. All right, let's see here. Holy magics and white magic. Yeah, they actually switched things up a little bit. I don't think she had white magics earlier. So she's got a gold hairpin. Don't think she had that last time. How about Delita? Status. Yeah, he's got the Save the Queen on, which is seems almost actually pretty appropriate for him to be equipped with that. That's kind of cool. Yeah, he's definitely got a lot better gear than what he had before. All right, let's see here. Oh, look at this. He's got all kinds of fun stuff. Oh, we're just going to destroy this guy. Oh, could she really not get to her? That's weird. It seems that seems really weird that ninja couldn't actually get to her to melee her again. Because I mean, I guess she's got protect on now, but how much health does she have? Yeah, 107. Yeah, I guess I don't know. A second attack from this ninja may not have killed her anyway. All right, but this'll end it. Down you go. Thank you, Delita. Are you hurt? It's no cause for concern. You are quite the troublesome princess, aren't you? Sorry, I did not mean to. I'm glad you're safe. Delita. Aw, she's falling for Delita. Alright, the battle is won, of course. Because why wouldn't it be? I think I'm gonna go right... yeah, let's go right into the next battle. Normally I'd, you know, put this in a second one, but I think this is gonna be really fast, so... just get started on this right away. If I remember right, there's undead here. Hopefully I'm not mistaken here, but you know, it can be a little bit of a challenge sometimes. I guess, you know, if you're on level, right, because they'll pop back up and be able to attack you again. But I don't think that's going to be an issue this time around. Those who fell in the 50 Years' War still linger in this wood. You will find no release here. Return with your remorse to the land of the dead. All right. One kind of neat way to deal with these, I think these are like the Revenant enemy. Yeah, this one's a Ghast. That one's a Revenant. What's this one? A Ghoul. One kind of fun way to deal with them is to just poach them, because then they completely disappear and you don't have to worry about them, you know, getting back up. But that trick will not work with these kind of humanoid characters. All right, yeah, nothing interesting here. Let's see. Let's go right here. Oh. Gotta be careful. Sanguine Sword will actually... No. Well, will this? Okay, I'm gonna try this. Do a save state. I think actually it might be the Blood Sword that you gotta be careful with. Oh yeah, that did help. That's what I thought. All right, that's what I thought. Yeah, so can't do that. Basically, any of the undead units, if you use the Blood Sword or like the Sanguine Sword like that, it will actually heal them and can kill or deal damage to your character. So, again, just got to be really careful with that. Yeah, we'll use a Crushing Blow here too. Also, Rafa is a guest right now, and you know, as it is with the guests in this game, there's no real reason to you know, to worry about her you know, JP or EXP or anything like that, because she's going to get reset once she joins us anyway. Let's see. Yeah, we'll do darkness here. I'm trying not to use the cheap abilities that I have given my characters, but I also kind of want to, because why not? Luso being able to use, you know, Agris's skills is kind of fun. Ectoplasm, oh boy. Yeah, that's deals a good amount of damage. Yeah, that that really hurt. We're living dangerously here. I should be able to take these guys out, though, before they get another turn. Pow. Yeah, the Dark Knight skills look really, really cool. I really like that. Especially that one, Crushing Blow, looks really neat. I'm totally going to use one of these cheap skills here. Here, let's do, like, let's Crush Weapon. Pow! Alright. Take that. Let us put some distance between us and this haunted wood. Yeah, let's do that. The battle is won. Another way to deal with the undead actually is Mustadio. He's got an ability called Seal Evil from his machinist command or job, and it'll turn undead to stone, which is, you know, pretty slick too. But anyways, that's all the time I've got for this one. So as always, I hope the guide was helpful, and thanks for watching.